One crisp autumn evening, Lily mysteriously vanished from her home, leaving her family and the entire community in chaos. Her parents called for her at dinner, but she was nowhere to be found. A sense of dread spread through the household, leading to frantic searches under beds and in closets. When they couldn't find her, they contacted neighbors and friends, initiating the unraveling of a tight-knit community into confusion and anxiety. The search for Lily began immediately. Her disappearance triggered the mobilization of neighbors, friends, and local authorities. With no initial clues, search parties scoured the streets, parks, and nearby woods. Volunteers knocked on doors, showing her picture and asking if anyone had seen the young girl. Despite the collective effort, no information emerged, only deepening the mystery surrounding her sudden disappearance. Local authorities led extensive search efforts for Lily. They set up a command center at the local police station, coordinating grid searches with volunteers. Helicopters flew overhead, scanning the surrounding fields and rivers for any signs of her. Despite utilizing all available resources, including search dogs and thermal imaging, they found no trace of Lily. The small town became a hotbed of anxiety and speculation. The community rallied around Lily's family, offering unwavering support and joining in the search. People organized vigils, lit candles, and prayed for her safe return. The local church opened its doors for round-the-clock support and refuge. Neighbors cooked meals for her family, while friends offered shoulders to cry on. Despite everyone's efforts, hope started to wane as each day passed without news of Lily. Despite widespread efforts, days turned into weeks with no sign of Lily. The initial flurry of activity slowed, but the search continued. Posters with her face were plastered everywhere. The police followed up on dozens of tips, but none led them closer to finding her. As the weeks dragged on, an eerie silence enveloped the community, the unsolved mystery weighing heavily on everyone's minds. Headlines about Lily's disappearance started to fade as the case grew cold. News outlets, once filled with daily updates and community interviews, began to move on to other stories. Lily's case transitioned from being breaking news to an unsolved segment. The media's focus shifted, yet the pain and loss remained fresh for her family and those who had invested their hearts in finding her. Unbeknownst to everyone, Lily had discovered a hidden room in her bedroom closet. Behind a loose panel, she found a small, concealed space. What seemed like an old, forgotten hiding spot became much more to her. To the outside world, she had vanished without a trace. But the reality was, she was just a few feet away, watching the frantic searches unfold from her hidden sanctuary. Desperate to escape abuse at home, Lily decided to make the secret room her refuge. The small, confined space felt safer than the daily torment she faced. It was her sanctuary, a place where she could be invisible. She gathered a few essential items, making plans to hide from the stark reality outside. Her decision was not made lightly, but it seemed to be her only escape. Lily meticulously planned her disappearance, gathering supplies for her life in hiding. She snuck non-perishable food from the kitchen and grabbed blankets and books to occupy her time. Over several days, she stockpiled essentials in the hidden room, ensuring she could survive without being detected. She rehearsed her plan in her mind, determined not to leave any trace. Her goal was clear: to vanish from the life she knew. Lily moved into the hidden room, beginning her life of isolation. She adjusted to her new, confined space, organizing her supplies and making it as comfortable as possible. Days turned into a monotonous routine of reading, sleeping, and staying quiet. She listened to the muffled sounds of the search outside, hoping no one would discover her. It was a lonely existence, but for Lily, it meant safety and control. Lily would occasionally sneak out from her hidden room when the house was empty, gathering food and other necessities. She knew her family's schedule and waited until the house was completely silent before making her move. Slipping into the kitchen or pantry, she would take what she needed and quietly return to her secret hideaway. These missions were her lifeline, allowing her to sustain her hidden existence. Her new life in hiding was undeniably lonely, but it felt safer than facing her abusive family. The small room became her world, shielding her from the pain and fear she once endured. Though the isolation was tough, she reminded herself of the reasons behind her decision. It was a trade-off she was willing to live with, choosing solitude over the terror of her previous life. Lily's parents struggled to cope with her mysterious disappearance. Her father became more withdrawn, hiding away with his own dark secrets, while her mother projected a facade of relentless hope. Each dealt with their guilt in different ways, neither fully confronting the truth. Their relationship began to fracture under the weight of suspicion, each wondering if the other held more answers than they let on. As suspicion and guilt grew within the household, the family became increasingly isolated. Conversations became terse and filled with unspoken accusations. The once bustling home turned into a space of tension and silence. Friends and relatives, sensing the family's secrecy and discomfort, visited less frequently. The cloud of Lily's disappearance hung over them, an ever-present reminder of the unresolved pain and unanswered questions. Initially, neighbors and friends rallied around Lily's family, offering support and solace. However, as the weeks turned into months, their visits became less frequent. People began to distance themselves, unsure how to interact with the grieving family. Whispers of doubt and speculation started to circulate, leading to further isolation for Lily's parents. The once solid community support began to fade, leaving the family to navigate their pain alone. As years passed, the active search for Lily dwindled, and her case gradually shifted to a haunting mystery. Law enforcement's attention moved to newer cases, and the community's focus turned to other concerns. Searches became sporadic, and media coverage vanished. The story of the girl who vanished without a trace lingered in the town's memory, a ghostly reminder of unsolved pain and unanswered questions. Meanwhile, in her hidden room, Lily adapted the space to make it more livable. She found old items in storage to use as furniture and organized her limited supplies more efficiently. Each adjustment was a small victory in creating a sense of normalcy. She even managed to decorate a little, hanging pictures from old magazines to brighten her confined environment. Every change made her sanctuary a bit more bearable. To maintain her sanity, Lily created a daily routine in her hidden room. She would wake at the same time each day, organizing her small space and planning meals with the supplies she had. Reading became her main pastime, and she practiced small exercises to stay physically active. This structure provided a semblance of normalcy, helping her navigate the isolation and ensuring she stayed grounded in her hidden life. Lily often recalled happy memories to cope with the overwhelming loneliness. She thought about times spent with friends at school, summer afternoons at the park, and simpler moments like watching movies with her mother. These memories were a comforting escape, allowing her to momentarily forget her current predicament. By holding on to these cherished moments, she kept a part of her old self alive amidst the solitude. Facing psychological challenges, Lily remained determined to stay hidden. There were days when the confinement seemed unbearable, and the solitude threatened to overwhelm her. Yet, she found strength in her resolve to avoid the abuse she once endured. She pushed through the dark moments, reminding herself why she chose this path. Her determination drove her to survive, finding ways to cope and adapt in her hidden sanctuary. Lily's resourcefulness showed as she found ways to sustain herself in hiding. She made use of old books and radio shows to keep her mind sharp. She learned to sew, repairing her clothes, and creating makeshift utilities from repurposed items. By scavenging forgotten corners of the house, she found essential items left unused for years, all while avoiding detection. Her relentless ingenuity kept her both occupied and alive. Over the years, the family dynamics worsened as the strain and tension grew. Arguments became more frequent, with Lily's parents often clashing over finances, their failing marriage, and the unresolved mystery of Lily's disappearance. Her siblings, trying to navigate their own lives, drifted apart, struggling with their own guilt and confusion. The once close family became a fractured group of individuals, burdened by suspicion and unspoken pain. Flashbacks revealed the abuse and neglect that led to Lily's drastic decision to hide. Instances of her father's explosive temper and her mother's dismissive neglect painted a grim picture. These moments of emotional and physical pain were the catalysts for her drastic choice. Lily often remembered specific incidents, like the time her father's anger became uncontrollable, or when her mother ignored her cries for help, pushing her further into isolation. Lily's parents began to confront their own demons and secrets while grappling with her loss. Her father, burdened by guilt, started drinking heavily, trying to drown his sorrows and regret. Her mother, on the other hand, delved into community work, perhaps seeking redemption. Both parents struggled with their past actions, finding it increasingly difficult to face each other and themselves. Their shared guilt created an unbridgeable chasm. The community started to move on, although the mystery of Lily's disappearance lingered. New families moved into the neighborhood, and old friends found other topics to discuss. Annual memorials for Lily became more subdued, fewer people attending as the years passed. Yet, every now and then, a glimmer of curiosity would resurface, reminding everyone of the girl who vanished without a trace, a mystery still unsolved. Key community figures began to reflect on the search and their evolving attitudes. The sheriff often wondered if more could have been done, and old neighbors recalled the days of frantic searches and vigils. Some felt regret over how they slowly distanced themselves from Lily's family, while others accepted it as a necessity to move on. Their reflections were mixed with wistful thoughts and unanswered what-ifs, lingering just beneath the surface. As years passed, Lily became more adept at hiding and sustaining herself. She developed new routines and strategies, ensuring she remained undetected. By now, she knew every creak and groan of the house, using this knowledge to move stealthily. Her ability to live off minimal resources improved, turning her hidden life into a well-oiled system. Each year brought new challenges, but she faced them head-on, her resilience never wavering. Her family became more fragmented as the weight of guilt and suspicion grew. The bond that once held them together weakened under pressure. Each family member struggled with their own set of emotions and unanswered questions. Birthday parties and holidays, once filled with laughter, turned into uncomfortable gatherings. The absence of closure regarding Lily's disappearance cast a long shadow, further straining already fragile relationships. A shift in household dynamics began to take place as Lily's youngest sibling stepped up to fill the void. Her presence brought a bittersweet mix of hope and sadness. While the parents still grappled with their own demons, they started to lean on her more, recognizing her maturity. This new responsibility caused shifts in daily routines and interactions, subtly altering the family's atmosphere, but also providing a small sense of normalcy. Someone new moved into the house, altering the family's situation. A distant relative, hoping to help and reconnect, temporarily stayed with them. This new addition brought fresh energy and a different dynamic, shaking up the family's long-established patterns. Interactions changed and new routines formed. The presence of an outsider began to reveal cracks in their facade, pushing buried emotions and long-hidden secrets closer to the surface. Lily felt a growing curiosity about the changes in her family's life. Through the thin walls, she overheard conversations and snippets of their daily routines. New voices and unfamiliar sounds made her curious about how much their lives had shifted. She wondered what new dynamics had taken place in her absence, and if they had changed for the better or worse. This curiosity gnawed at her daily. After years in hiding, Lily evaluated her current situation and safety. Her family's discussions suggested a different, more stable environment. She inventoried her dwindling supplies and assessed her health, realizing the need for a change. Thoughts of finally revealing herself started to emerge. Considering the emotional and physical toll of her years of hiding, she cautiously started weighing the risks and potential outcomes of stepping back into the light. A significant event made Lily reconsider her decision to stay hidden. She heard her family discussing a memorial service being arranged in her name, believing she was gone forever. The realization of how deeply her absence affected them hit hard. This impending service meant a point of no return, potentially closing the chapter of her mysterious disappearance. It made her grapple with the urgency and importance of her next move. Lily prepared herself mentally for the impact of emerging from hiding. She rehearsed what she might say and how she would explain her long absence. Every possible reaction from her family played out in her mind. Lily also knew she had to brace for the emotional turmoil and questions that would follow. Nights were spent in restless contemplation, mentally building the courage to face the reality of her decision. She cautiously planned her reveal, considering the best way to approach it. Lily thought about writing a letter first, softening the initial shock for her family. She also explored scenarios where she would appear suddenly, confronting them directly. Weighing the pros and cons of each plan, she ultimately decided that a face-to-face reveal might be the most genuine approach. The timing and setting of this reveal became her focus. Lily chose a moment when she felt it was safe to come out of hiding. She picked a quiet evening, ensuring her family was home and unwound. The general atmosphere was calm, giving her some confidence. With a deep breath, she navigated her way to the part of the house where her parents sat. trying to ease her own nerves as she stepped closer to finally ending her self-imposed exile. In a tense and emotional scene, Lily revealed herself to her shocked family. She stepped out from behind the long-hidden door, surprising them as they sat together. Gasps and stunned silence filled the room as they processed her sudden appearance. Her mother dropped a plate in sheer surprise, while her father's eyes welled with tears. It was a groundbreaking moment, years of hiding coming to an abrupt end. She recounted her years in the hidden room to the stunned onlookers. Lily described how she managed to stay hidden, her resourcefulness, and the countless moments of fear and loneliness. Her stories were filled with details of how she survived, avoiding detection all those years. As each family member listened, they were captivated by the bravery and perseverance she displayed, piecing together the reality of her long absence. Lily's family and the community reacted with a mix of disbelief and intrigue. News of her reveal quickly spread, turning her home into the focal point of intense curiosity. Neighbors speculated wildly, and old friends reached out. Some were amazed by her survival skills, while others expressed skepticism or judgment. The entire town buzzed with the astonishing tale of the girl who vanished and then miraculously reappeared. Her family struggled to come to terms with the truth she revealed. Each member processed it differently. Her mother oscillated between joy and guilt. Her father battled deep remorse, and her siblings were in varying stages of shock and relief. Family discussions became intense as they navigated this new reality. The road to normalcy and healing seemed long and arduous, but Lily's return brought a glimmer of hope to their fractured lives. The community members were shocked, but began to piece together the mystery. Whispers echoed in grocery stores, and theories circulated at local gatherings. Neighbors who had once assumed the worst grappled with their previous misconceptions. Some felt a pang of guilt for their silent judgments. As fragments of Lily's story emerged, the town began to re-examine the events leading to and during her disappearance, attempting to make sense of the extraordinary revelation. The emotional impact on Lily's family was profound, shaking their world to its core. Her parents found themselves reliving years of anguish and questioning their every decision. Her siblings struggled to balance relief with confusion. Family dinners turned into long discussions filled with tears and embraces. Every corner of their home felt charged with memories and new emotions as they worked through the complex feelings Lily's return had triggered. Lily explained the abuse that drove her to hide, opening old wounds. She shared the dark moments that forced her into seclusion, describing the fear and desperation that kept her isolated. Her words struck like thunder, leaving her family grasping the magnitude of her suffering. Each confession reopened discussions about what could have been done differently. The revelation sparked a new layer of grief, mingled with a burning need to support her recovery. Conversation started on how Lily managed to stay hidden and survive for so long. Her cleverness in navigating the hidden spaces of her home became apparent. Lily detailed how she scavenged for food and water and manipulated light and noise to stay unnoticed. The family and community were astounded by her resourcefulness. Questions flew. How did no one notice? How did she manage years of isolation? Her story was one of incredible survival. Lily detailed her daily life and the tactics she used to avoid detection. She talked about the routines she established, the small liberties she allowed herself, and the overbearing caution that defined her existence. From midnight forages for food to the silence during the day, every action was calculated. Her story painted a vivid picture of a life lived in the shadows, revealing the extraordinary measures taken to remain unseen and safe. The focus shifted to the psychological toll of Lily's years in hiding. She talked about the loneliness, the endless hours of introspection, and the emotional endurance required to stay hidden. The strain of no human contact and the constant vigilance wore on her psyche. Her family watched as she recounted her struggles, realizing the depth of her bravery. The mental scars were evident, and healing would be a slow, steady journey back to normalcy. Her parents grappled with guilt, their complicity in her suffering revealed. They questioned how they had missed the signs, reflecting on the choices that might have driven Lily to her drastic decision. Every tear they shed was laced with regret. Family therapy sessions became a regular part of their lives as they sought ways to rebuild trust and understanding. Their love for Lily was undeniable, but so was the weight of their shared history. The community reevaluated their perspectives on the family and Lily's ordeal. Lingering resentments and judgments were replaced with empathy and a thirst for understanding. People who had once whispered behind the family's back now offered support. Groups began discussing broader issues of mental health, abuse, and the complexities of such traumas. Lily's story became a catalyst for change, prompting many to look more closely at the hidden struggles within their own homes. Local authorities reassessed the case with the new information Lily provided. They revisited old files, questioning the thoroughness of the original investigation. Detectives who once dismissed her disappearance as a runaway case now faced the haunting truth. Interviews were conducted, evidence re-examined, and new theories formed. The police aimed to understand the full scope of what happened, ensuring that any overlooked injustices were addressed and accountability was finally served. Legal implications arose from Lily's revelations, leading to potential investigations. Lawyers and advocates stepped in to navigate the complex legal landscape. Issues of neglect and potential criminal charges against those who might have failed her were considered. The family sought legal counsel to protect Lily and ensure the system worked justly. Courtrooms beckoned, and the story of the girl who vanished, yet found herself again, seemed far from over, as justice loomed on the horizon. As word spread about Lily's return, media coverage spiked again. Journalists camped outside her house and broadcast news stories across the nation. News vans lined the streets, and reporters clamored for interviews. The intense focus on Lily's story reignited public interest. Programs debated her case, and social media buzzed with theories and support hashtags. The attention was overwhelming, forcing the family to shield Lily from the relentless spotlight. Lily began the complicated process of reintegrating into society after years of isolation. She took cautious steps, starting with small outings. Simple acts like shopping and walking in the park became monumental events. Her family accompanied her, offering support. Slowly, she interacted with neighbors and accustomed herself to the world outside her hidden room. Each day, she reclaimed pieces of a life interrupted, navigating the challenges of reconnecting and moving forward. Lily sought therapy to address the long-term effects of her trauma. Weekly sessions with a therapist helped her unpack the complexities of her experience. She engaged in exercises to manage anxiety and build coping mechanisms. It was a slow, sometimes painful process, but each session provided a step toward healing. Her therapist worked with her to rebuild trust and resilience, giving Lily the tools to face her new reality with strength and hope. Her family faced both legal and social scrutiny due to the revealed abuse. Investigations looked into how the abuse went unnoticed and the role of each family member. Neighbors now viewed them through a lens of suspicion and pity. Legal proceedings began to unfold, adding to the family's stress. Despite the external pressures, they tried to focus on supporting Lily, but the weight of public judgment and legal ramifications loomed large in their lives. Support systems started forming for Lily from both the community and professionals. Counselors, social workers, and local groups rallied to provide help. Friends and sympathetic strangers offered their assistance, organizing fundraisers and providing resources. The community center became a hub for the support efforts. People donated time, expertise, and money to ensure Lily had everything she needed for her recovery. The outpouring of support created a network that bolstered Lily and her family during this difficult period. Lily began to reconnect with old friends and rebuild her social life. She sent messages to childhood buddies and arranged small meetups. Moments at coffee shops and parks were filled with laughter and cautious storytelling. Some friends had moved on, but others returned with open arms, offering the warmth of shared memories. Reconnecting helped her feel less alone and reminded her of the normalcy she yearned to regain. Each friendship rekindled added a layer to her healing. The family attempted to heal and find a new normal after the revelations. Dinner tables turned into therapy sessions with open conversations surrounding their shared trauma. They leaned on each other, rebuilding trust and understanding. Slowly, traditions returned, and the house began to feel like home again. Bonds strengthened through mutual support and love, helping them to navigate the complexities of their situation. Together, they strived to create a future where past wounds could eventually close. Community members rallied to support Lily in her recovery and future. They organized events to raise awareness and funds for her therapy. Local businesses contributed by offering services and goods. Schools included her story in programs about resilience and safety. The community's collective efforts created an environment of acceptance and advocacy. This wave of solidarity provided Lily and her family with the external strength needed to complement their internal healing, affirming that they were not alone. Lily began sharing her story more publicly to raise awareness about hidden abuse. She participated in interviews and spoke at community events, detailing her experience and the lessons learned. Her brave accounts resonated with many, shining a light on the issues of abuse and seclusion. Each story she shared sparked conversations and inspired others to come forward. By sharing her journey, Lily aimed to prevent others from experiencing the same fate and to promote healing. She revealed the existence of a secret room in her bedroom where she hid for years. Lily described the small, concealed space crafted for her survival. Journals, makeshift beds, and hidden supplies painted a vivid picture of her life in hiding. This revelation added a tangible element to her incredible story, prompting further investigation and curiosity. The room symbolized both her resilience and the darkness she endured, a poignant end to her hidden years now exposed to the world. Lily explained how she discovered the hidden room by accident one day, noticing an oddly loose panel behind her closet. Curiosity led her to investigate further, revealing a small crawl space that nobody else seemed to know about. It became her secret refuge, where she could escape the violence and find a moment of peace. Over time, the hidden room became an integral part of her survival strategy, offering solace away from her abusers. With a clear plan in mind, Lily meticulously prepared for her disappearance. She stockpiled food and water, sneaking items into the crawl space without raising suspicion. She also gathered books, papers, and pens to keep herself occupied. Timing was crucial. She waited for the perfect moment when everyone was out, and then vanished into her secret sanctuary. The execution of her plan required immense patience, cunning, and resolve, but it eventually paid off. Lily's resourcefulness was born out of sheer desperation. She devised ways to heat food using makeshift methods and created a ventilation system to make the hidden room livable. Her need to escape the ceaseless abuse fueled her creativity and determination. She knew that revealing the truth of her situation would be harder than enduring the hidden life she crafted. Every act of ingenuity spoke volumes about her resilience and desperation in the face of terror. Key community figures began to reflect on their earlier involvement in the search for Lily. The local sheriff recalled the extensive manhunts and the lengths they went to, searching every inch of the town. Teachers and neighbors remembered the overbearing feeling of helplessness and the exhaustive efforts to find her. Their reflections were marked with remorse and disbelief, as they realized how deeply hidden Lily's struggles had been from the eyes of those around. The revelations about Lily's hidden room and her reasons for disappearing began to shift the dynamics between her family, and the community. Trust had been severely damaged, and everyone grappled with their mixed emotions. Hidden truths came to the surface, forcing painful conversations and introspections. Efforts to mend broken relationships were slow and challenging, but they underscored a community working together to heal and understand the tangled web of Lily's past. Discussions began to sprout about how to prevent similar situations and support abuse victims more effectively. Community leaders, social workers, and law enforcement partnered to create programs aimed at recognizing the signs of hidden abuse. Workshops were organized, educating people on how they could help those in need. The community's united front aimed to ensure that no one would have to resort to such drastic measures as Lily did to find safety. Lily's journey of personal growth and recovery inspired admiration from those around her. She managed to reclaim her own life bit by bit, transforming her trauma into a source of strength. The way she navigated through her challenges served as a powerful testament to her resilience. Her determination and bravery drew respect, and many looked up to her, using her story as an inspiration to face their own struggles with courage and hope. Lily channeled her experiences into advocacy, becoming a voice for hidden abuse survivors. She shared her courageous story in community centers, schools, and media outlets, bringing awareness to the concealed aspects of domestic abuse. Her speeches and outreach efforts helped others feel seen and heard. Lily's advocacy provided a platform for victims to find strength and raise their own voices, fostering an environment where sharing and acknowledging one's truth was supported and valued. As the story neared its end, Lily looked towards a hopeful future, stronger than before. She envisioned a life where she could pursue her dreams without fear. Opportunities to study, travel, and build a fulfilling career seemed within reach. Lily's newfound confidence felt like sunlight breaking through after a long, dark night. With the scars of the past still present, she moved forward, firmly rooted in the belief that better days were ahead. Lily's journey underscored the resilience of the human spirit and the importance of uncovering hidden truths. Her story highlighted how strength can emerge from the darkest circumstances and how crucial community and support systems are. By sharing her experience, Lily not only found healing, but also inspired others to seek help and shed light on their own hidden truths. Her resilience and bravery remain a beacon of hope and a reminder of the power of uncovering and addressing hidden pain.